Hey Morley friends, it's Miss Dana. I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy at home. Today I'm going to read a little bit from one of my favorite middle grade books. So this is a series written by Lemony Snicket. It's called A Series of Unfortunate Events. I'm going to be reading from book 2, which is the Reptile Room, and I'm going to be reading a little bit of chapters 2 and chapter 3. So if you guys want to hear more, or read more on your own, you guys can use Libby or Overdrive to get the whole series or just one book, whichever you want. It's CleveNet, CLEVNET .overdrive.com, and you can just use your Morley card or any CleveNet library card, and you can get those. All right, so we're gonna get started with reading, okay? Uncle Monty said, "Well, if you know that, then you should know what herpetology is." "It's the study of something," Claw said. "Whenever a word has ology, it's the study of something." "Snakes!" Uncle Monty cried. "Snakes, snakes, snakes! That's what I study. I love snakes, all kinds. And I circle the globe looking for different kinds to study here in my laboratory. Isn't that interesting?" "That is interesting," Violet said. "Very interesting. But isn't it dangerous?" "Not if you know the facts," Uncle Monty said. All right, guys, so at this point, Uncle Monty is about to show the Baudelaire kids his reptile room. And instead of reading through that, I thought it would be a little bit more fun if I took you on a tour of a reptile room here. So I am at Herps Alive Foundation. It's a reptile rescue in South Euclid. And I am going to take you guys on a little bit of a tour real quick. All right. So we have a whole bunch of turtles here. So these guys are things we could see here in Ohio if you guys do decide to go safely to, the parks and take a hike or something like that. And then we've got some not Ohio things. So back there, you guys can see Juliet and Romeo. These guys are Argentine tegus. We have a bunch of different snakes. We have the black rat snake back there, and we have a corn snake. All right, and then we have lots of empty cages right now. We've got our bearded dragon and Athena, who is a Gila monster. She likes to hide. All right, we've got some more toads and frogs, more snakes. And what I'm gonna do actually is get us out one of these snakes to continue the rest of our story time, okay? So this is Palomino, and Palomino is a banana-pied yellow-bellied ball python. All right, so we're gonna head on back upstairs to finish our story, okay? All right, what do you think, Palomino? Are we ready to get back to our story? All right. Uncle Monty, Claw asked shyly. "I just have one question." "What is that?" Uncle Monty said. "What's in that cage with the cloth on top of it?" Uncle Monty looked at the cage and then at the children. His face lit up with a smile of pure joy. "That, my dears, is a new snake which I brought over from my last journey. Gustav and myself are the only people to have seen it. Next month, I'm going to present it to the Herpetological Society as a new discovery." The Baudelaire orphans followed Uncle Monty to the cloth-covered cage, and with a flourish, a word which here means a sweeping gesture often used to show off, he swooped the cloth off the cage, and inside was a large black snake, as dark as a coal mine and as thick as a sewer pipe. So it looks pretty different than this guy. He was looking right at the orphans with shiny green eyes. With the cloth off its cage, the snake began to uncoil itself and slither around its home. "Because I discovered it," Uncle Monty said, "I get to name it." "What's it called?" Violet asked. "The incredibly deadly viper," Uncle Monty replied, and at that moment something happened which I'm sure will interest you. With one flick of its tail, the snake unlatched the door of its cage and slithered out onto the table, and before Uncle Monty or any of the Baudelaire orphans could say anything, it opened its mouth and bit Sunny right on the chin. As the fangs of the incredibly deadly viper closed on Sunny's chin, Violet and Klaus watched in horror as Sunny's little eyes closed and her face grew quiet. Then, moving as suddenly as the snake, Sunny smiled brightly, opened her mouth, and bit the incredibly deadly viper right on its tiny scaled nose. The snake let go of her chin, and Violet and Klaus could see that it had left barely a mark. The two older Baudelaire siblings looked at Uncle Monty, and Uncle Monty looked back at them and laughed. His loud laughter bounced off the glass walls of the reptile room. Uncle Monty, what can we do? Klaus said in despair. Oh, I'm sorry, my dears, Uncle Monty said. You must be very frightened. But the incredibly deadly viper is one of the least dangerous and most friendly creatures in the animal kingdom. Sunny has nothing to worry about. Klaus looked at his baby sister, who was still in his arms, as she playfully gave the incredibly deadly viper a big hug around its thick body, and realized that Uncle Monty must be telling the truth. So then why is it called the incredibly deadly viper? Uncle Monty laughed again. It's a misnomer, he said, using a word which means a very wrong name. Because I discovered it, I got to name it. So don't tell anybody, because I'm going to present it and give everybody at the Herpetological Society a good scare before explaining that the snake is completely harmless. Lord knows they've teased me many times because of my name. Hello, hello, Montgomery, Montgomery, they say. How are you, Montgomery, Montgomery? But at this year's conference, I'm going to get back at them with this little prank. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys want to listen or read more about the Baudelaire children, remember you can go to clevenet.overdrive.com and check any of those books out with your Morley card, all right? Thank you guys for joining Palomino and I, and I hope you guys continue to stay safe and have fun and stay home and be healthy. Thanks, guys. Bye.